Hi, I'm here to tell you about what's going on right before the holidays because I know you're bored and you don't have anything else to do. You want to hear from me about what's going on in Washington, D.C. and the prospects for what we've been talking about, frankly, for a couple of years now, tax reform. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? Well, frankly, it looks like it's fading away. And the reality is that a lot of it has to do with not the stuff that affects us, but rather the stuff that affects corporate America. Like much of politics in Washington, D.C., much of it is driven by what large corporations want or desire as opposed to average citizens. And whether you like it or not, that's the reality. And they've been pushing for many years the idea of reforming the corporate tax system because they believe, and I think reasonably so, that high U.S. corporate rates make them not as competitive from an international perspective. So these large multinationals have been pushing for corporate reform for some time. Well, guess what? Some of the actual proposals that are part of a potential corporate reform package started leaking out over the last several weeks, primarily by Senate Finance Committee Chairman Max Baucus. And also, guess what? They don't like a lot of the stuff. There's some pretty aggressive proposals, mostly to try to raise money to help pay for lowering the corporate tax rates that are very controversial, things like requiring advertising expenses to be amortized over 5 years, which a lot of companies with products with short life cycles are not very happy about. And so all of that controversy around these proposals is resulting in a lot of corporations putting a pause button on the idea of corporate reform in the first place. And that is really slowing down tax reform overall. So you may see the Finance Committee actually even potentially putting out more proposals over the next couple months, maybe even mark up their own bill. There's some lingering talk that Chairman Camp of the Ways and Means Committee might put out some proposals as well. But the talk around comprehensive reform is really fading away fast because the reality is almost everybody around town is really worried about what the realities of what that might look like. So folks are saying, let's put a pause button, let's wait till after the midterm elections next year in November of 2014, and I think that's when discussion about tax reform will be rebooted again. That's not to mean that we've got nothing to do between now and then. The definition of fiduciary reg is definitely coming out next year. We're gearing up for that, so stay tuned to hear more about that. But when it comes to tax reform, the current thinking is it's not until after the next election. Talk to you soon.